business, government, theft, peer pressure, bullying, and animal cruelty. All themes that come to mind when talking about SpongeBob SquarePants. Upon rewatching the first, second, and third season, my colleagues and I noticed multiple occasions where the children's program taught horrible lessons. Throughout the series, we are introduced to many characters that are shady and hiding deep, dark secrets, and I feel obligated to expose them.
I can explain.
There are many unanswered questions and many questionable answers. I'm here to break down and analyze the show to reveal its poor morals. To get started, let's talk about the characters. SpongeBob. SpongeBob is a fun, optimistic sponge that tends to go with the swing of things, but that's only on the surface. We'll come to know this character as a bully, a racist, and an animal abuser, but let's discuss his part in the show first. SpongeBob is society's idea of an outcast who tries to be cool by doing things that society thinks is cool. Pressured by peers and acquaintances, he makes poor decisions in favor to be liked. How he goes with the flow is a way for him to maintain his likability instead of being a buzzkill. But if you've seen enough episodes, you notice sometimes he can't keep his cool.
Oh, you poor thing. By the way, you forgot your briefcase.
Ooh, so this is the thanks I get for working overtime.
Overtime! Oh, boy, yeah, you're working. If that's the kind of work you're doing, show me where to sign up for it, because I am working my fingers to the bone. You never help, never!
Patrick stars the dim-witted starfish who's dependent on others. The only reason he hangs around SpongeBob is so he'll be taken care of. Now, I'm not saying he's using SpongeBob, he does consider him a best friend, but some of his motives aren't so honest. Patrick Star suffers from extreme anxiety, which he usually covers up well, but he fears almost everything. One of his biggest fears is...
Spiders! Get him off me! Get him off me! Get him off me!
Wake up! It's me!
Squidward. Squidward tennis balls...
That's tentacles!
My bad. Squidward testicles represent the view society has of art appreciation and practice, reflecting anti-intellectualism. He also represents art in the view that there is no more original art to be made, making the statement that originality is dead. There's only the art that has come before because we as a community have lost the creativity to make something new. Squidward is the dichotomy of two extremes, how people view him and who he is. The anti-intellectualism of others is revealed through his attempts at achieving artistic integrity.
Yeah, we're with the pet hospital down the street, and I understand you have a dying animal on the premises.
As a result, he's a misanthrope, another idealism he represents, and operates as an example of artistic pretension. Mr. Krabs. Eugene Krabs is obviously a representation of greed. He takes what he wants and is never satisfied. He has plenty of money but always wants more. He loves his friends and family, but he loves a green piece of paper more. He even fears losing a simple dime.
I got it, boy! What the? It's stuck! You gotta help me, SpongeBob!
You've got to let go of the dime.
I can think of 10 good reasons to never let go of a dime, boy.
Sandy. Sandy Cheeks. Sandy Cheeks represents xenophobia. She isn't the xenophobic character, however it's those around her. People often treat her differently, display their disgust for her, and even make fun of her just because she's a land creature. But more about this later. Finally, we have Plankton. Sheldon J. Plankton is a representation of hope and goals. He hopes to get the Krabby Patty secret formula. If Plankton can get his green little stubs in the formula, he will have achieved and gained everything he's ever wanted. So the Krabby Patty represents the American dream. The American dream. Success, respect, communion with others, and a sense of accomplishment. Plankton also represents competitive spirit. Since Mr. Krabs is the cynical representation of greed and inconsideration, Plankton is the underdog and therefore the hero. Though one could argue his nobility due to his tactics, he's only pushed to these extremes out of necessity. He's basically Walter White. But Plankton isn't the only one who shares a similarity with Walter. In fact, all of them do, because they're all hiding something. SpongeBob is hiding his inherently abusive nature, Patrick is hiding his fears in a person he kidnapped from the jellyfish convention,
Come on, Jeffrey!
Squidward is hiding his need for SpongeBob and Patrick to be in his life, Krabs is hiding how dark his naval history truly was,
I've seen this before. When that pie goes up to bat, hits his lower intestine. Boom!
You've seen this before?
11 times, as a matter of fact.
Cindy is hiding her true reason for being in Bikini Bottom. Even Mrs. Puff is hiding almost everything because her past was the most evil.
I hope I still remember how to do this.
That being said, How can this community function when everyone is lying to each other? Well, to figure that out, we must look at Bikini Bottom businesses and the undersea government. Bikini Bottom, where you can pretty much do anything. So how does it function? Here to answer this is business expert and enthusiast Professor Jaiden of Jaiden Animations.
Hi, thanks for having me. To answer your question, the reason why Bikini Bottom functions surprisingly well is simply because the law enforcement officers don't really seem to care.
Hey, look!
Unless actions affect them directly. Or if you're littering. Now that I think about it, littering is a guaranteed way to go to jail in Bikini Bottom. That and not inviting police to house parties. Seriously, SpongeBob got arrested for that. There's also record of Patrick being arrested and locked in a jail cell for claiming he's the Tattletale Strangler. However, later when the real Strangler is found, the cops ignore the fact that Patrick is still in there under a false claim. No one is sure how much time he spent behind bars even though he was innocent, which is widely credited to the unpredictability of police in Bikini Bottom. There's no clear evidence of why the officers don't possess deep motivation to keep the city properly protected, but a good assumption would be that they're underpaid and underappreciated, leaving them unhappy with their jobs and having a lackluster approach to life in their careers. Anyway, this lack of law enforcement allows those who inhabit Bikini Bottom free to do almost whatever they want, be it illegal or not. Whether you want to steal a secret formula, shrink a whole town down to the size of a pickle, give a driver's license to someone who can't drive just to get them out of your life but later regret your decision because it could lead to mass destruction and several civilian casualties, so you steal their car and attempt to correct the potentially horrible outcomes of your selfish mistake, or sell homemade pies.
Oh, these aren't homemade. They were made in a factory. A bomb factory. They're bombs.
And have you ever wondered why Mr. Krabs has so much money? A few things contribute to this, but it stems from the same source: lack of government. Mr. Krabs can overwork his employees due to the fact there aren't any laws in Bikini Bottom saying he can't. He can also pay them below minimum wage, because there isn't a minimum wage in Bikini Bottom. SpongeBob claimed in one episode that he made a dime a year, but he works 23 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's just unfair.
Krusty Krab is unfair! Mr. Krabs is in there! Standing at the concession! Plotting his oppression!
It's seen in the episode Squid on Strike. Squidward and SpongeBob go on strike to try and fight the totalitarian grip Krabs has over them in their jobs, but their efforts are to no prevail because by the end of their strike, they are not met with higher pay or even less hours, but are instead forced by their boss to work for him, quote, forever. And I'm not even gonna get into the fact that Krabs is literally running a monopoly in the food industry. No other companies are even able to compete with the Krusty Krab. And even if one begins to show potential, he does all it takes to make sure they're stomped right back into the sand, just so he can remain on top of the food chain. Nothing is known about the worth of the currency in Bikini Bottom, but we do know that a Krabby Patty meal is $2.99, or 99 cents on Wednesday. Although throughout the series that price changes, the average price for a Krabby Patty tends to be $1, comparable to a dollar menu burger in our society. Because of this, we'll assume that the currency in Bikini Bottom is roughly the same as ours, which raises a question. How does SpongeBob live off of practically nothing?
Thanks, Professor, I can answer that. May I remind you all that SpongeBob never had to buy his house? In the episode Home Sweet Pineapple, it is shown that he grew it from a seed. That means free rent and free mortgage. And the house grew back fully furnished, so all he needs to pay for is food, drinks, and clothes. A Krabby Patty costs 25 cents for employees, so I'm pretty sure SpongeBob eats them for free. I mean, who's gonna stop him? The law? As for the other cost, who honestly knows? He's horrible with money. Once, he even went as far as to give up a year's salary for a bunch of stuffed animals. But how is that 10 cents worth of stuffed animals? Oh my. His salary changes whenever the show writers want to make a quick joke. This whole video is a waste of time. And what about the economy? Do they have taxes? There doesn't appear to be any tax in Bikini Bottom, but there are bills to be paid. SpongeBob may have grown his house and Patrick lives under a rock, but those who paid for their houses have bills. And where does that money go? Where does the money of the hardworking citizens go? Balloons. It's for the day they give away free balloons. On a national scale. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in latex. What about healthcare? Yeah, forget about that. You remember the guy who frequently yells, "Believe Yeah, well, that poor bastard's legs always hurt because he has low income and doesn't receive health care. If you don't make money, don't get sick because you won't be treated. So that's a look into Bikini Bottom, the place where they don't care about you, your stupid little family, your dumb little animals, and your dying children. As for the lessons taught in SpongeBob SquarePants, the first we will be discussing is stealing, or as Mr. Krabs calls it,
Borrow.
besides the hero of the show Plankton attempting to steal the Krabby Patty formula every day of his natural born life, we also have Mr. Krabs, who steals many items in the run of the show, most notably in the episode The Smoking Peanut. The first thing we see in this episode is Mr. Krabs stealing whatever he can get his grubby claws on. Then, in The Life of Crime, he teaches SpongeBob, Patrick, and your 4-year-old son that stealing is perfectly fine.
Listen, all that stuff is, borrowed.
Borrowed? Well, that's a relief. I thought you took it without permission.
Permission's permission. You can borrow anything you want, anytime, as long as you get it back before it's missed.
Wonderful message, Mr. Krabs. Thanks for making a generation of kleptomaniacs. You thought stealing was a bad thing to teach your kids? Well, get this. SpongeBob endorses peer pressure and addiction. How do they accomplish this? In one episode. Just one bite. In this episode, SpongeBob is determined to get Squidward to take his first ever bite of a Krabby Patty. P.S. This isn't the first episode we see him eating one, but the show writers don't give a flying fuck. When SpongeBob finally gets Squidward to take a bite, he stops hassling him. Squidward pretends like he hates it, but unfortunately for Squidward, he's now addicted to them. That's all it takes. He's so addicted that he eats one from the trash, or tries to, and sneaks into a Krabby Patty vault, eating so much that he overdoses. And this is actually proven to be the sole reason why kids do drugs. One of the greatest life lessons taught in the show is that of bullying. A few characters experience getting bullied. Squidward typically makes fun of SpongeBob and Patrick. Mr. Krabs assaults our hero Plankton. SpongeBob gets ridiculed for wanting to fly. The poor fellas of the beach who got sand in their buns received a really bad sunburn and was buried in the sand, becoming long forgotten, all experienced it. However, most of the bullying is aimed at Sandy Cheeks, which I mentioned briefly earlier. And I believe it's racism. Each type of underwater creature seems to be another race, and Sandy is the biggest outcast and the butt of a lot of jokes because she is a land creature. She's the victim of bullying most of the time. The episode where Patrick calls Texas and those who are from it dumb. The episode where all of them gang up on her and say sea critters are better than land critters. The episode where SpongeBob gets a huge laugh by making fun of her and creating a stereotype that squirrels are so darn stupid. Hell, Sandy is one night stroll away from being the show's Trayvon Martin. And there are no consequences to this bullying, none at all. It only made the bullies more popular. A proven fact, SpongeBob is responsible for 40% of all hate crimes. But that has to be the worst lesson taught in SpongeBob, right? It seriously can't get any worse. That racist, peer-pressuring bully known as SpongeBob SquarePants also abuses animals regularly. The episode where he throws a peanut at a clam. The episode where he keeps breaking Gary's shell. The episode where SpongeBob forgot to feed Gary for weeks to play a game, so Gary runs away. The episode where Gary stays with Patrick only because of the cookie in his pocket, leading me to assume SpongeBob hasn't fed him again. The episode where he tries to force Gary to bathe and nearly kills him in the process. The episode where he overworks Gary in a snail race to the point that Gary explodes. Shit, Gary is one curious toddler away from being the show's Harambe. SpongeBob even gets a laugh from verbally abusing Gary.
Looks like we're gonna start our training now, ladies. Ah! I call you a lady to humiliate and demean you.
Oh, and there's an episode where SpongeBob obtains a seahorse, then shoves it in a drawer at work. SpongeBob SquarePants not only caused millions of defenseless animals across the globe to be attacked and neglected, he's also the reason why Sarah McLachlan and the SPCA had to do all those animal cruelty commercials.
Hi, I'm Sarah McLachlan. Please say you'll be the answer for an innocent animal who's suffering right now.
And of course, I can end the video here. But no, not when there are plenty more lessons to be taught. Scamming people for profit is the way to go, according to Chocolate with Nuts. Looks are important, according to Something Smells. Cussing is publicly appropriate, according to Sailor Mouth. Being a mindless follower to be cool is cool, according to I'm Your Biggest Fanatic. You should stalk your heroes, according to Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy. Invading people's privacy is fine, according to Sleepy Time. Humiliating yourself is how you get attention, according to Rip Pants. Disrupting class is funny, according to New Student Starfish. If you have muscles, you're automatically popular, according to Muscle Bob Buff Pants. Wreaking havoc on a community is fun, according to Squidville. Money is most valuable, according to every episode ever. If you think you committed a murder, you should hide all the evidence of your possible crime and bury the body even if they aren't actually dead, according to Nasty Patty. Cheating gets you a passing grade, according to Boating School. When someone is better than you should convince them that they suck, according to Artist Unknown. If you find a baby, take it, according to Rockabye Bivalve. Staying inside your whole life is the way to stay safe, according to I Had an Accident, which is how agoraphobia was created. Luring children is a good way to make money, according to Krabbyland. And those aren't even my words. That's the description of the episode. You should be afraid of mimes, according to The Sponge Who Could Fly, which put over 20,000 mimes out of a job since 2001. Overinflating your personal success is recommended, according to Squilling Returns, and they even go a step further to suggest you should lie to your parents as well to make yourself look better, according to I'm What's Stupid. You can potentially win a trophy for doing nothing longer than anyone else, according to Big Pink Loser, leaving many parents with their 38-year-old son on the couch. If you work in the food industry and the customer is being a jerk, just fuck them up, according to Pizza Delivery. You should take advantage of people, according to Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost and Can You Spare a Dime. Nearly killing your friend to make a point is crucial to point making, according to Squirrel Jokes. Old people aren't cool, according to Midlife Crustacean. You should abuse children, according to Midlife Crustacean. Breaking into houses and raiding dressers for women's underwear is hip, according to Midlife Crustacean. God damn, that was quite an episode. And one of my personal favorites, jail is a nice place to be, according to Doing Time. The list goes on and on. Danger, destruction, gambling, body shaming, breaking and entry, slavery. Think of something bad, SpongeBob teaches it. So if you're a bully, racist, or have an extreme longing for abusing animals, it's not your fault. It's SpongeBob's. Now if you excuse me, I'm going to scam people and steal from local stores. Thank you, and good night.